You dropped out of college after 2 years at the University of Texas, but it did not take very long for the military to tap your potential and produce one of our country's greatest leaders. What was it, General Franks, that the military provided that the University of Texas did not or could not?
Well, there's not too much that Longhorn deal can't provide. Unlike, I suspect, 95% of the people in this room, when I was a kid, I really didn't have a vision in my life. Many of you, seriously, many of you have a vision for your life, and that's good. And many of you have had a vision for your life, and I didn't have one. One of my dad's favorite sayings had to do with making a hand. And some in this room will understand that cowboy term and some won't. But it's this business of getting it done. When you put yourself to do something, get it done. Well, I suppose I never heeded my dad's advice until I joined the military. And then a couple of things came clear to me after I went in the military. One of them was spending all day and all night doing what I had done up to that point in my life was not productive work. When I figured that out, the words of my dad popped into my mind about make a hand. My dad also asked me one time when I was a kid if I knew the difference between smart and wise. And I said, well, no, but I always wanted to. And he looked at me and he said, it's real simple, son. He said, it's experience. So you ought to go get some experience. Well, up through the time that I was initially in undergraduate school, I never thought much about that. And so one day I got a letter from the registrar, and it suggested that I'd be better off and that the university would be better off if I would lay out a semester and ponder my navel and whatever. Well, that troubled me so much that I moved immediately to Schultz Beer Garden. And then the next morning I went down and found an Army recruiter. I'm working my way up to the answer, Mike. And so I joined the Army and I went off to basic training, and many in here did that also. I went off to basic training and I started finding out that they did weird things that I had not done when I was a child. They lined up shoes and they made beds and they did all of that. And so it came to be that there was a structure in my life that I had not had before. So structure is a piece of that. And for sure, I found something that I had not had when I was a kid, and you all know what that is. I found accountability. All of you have found accountability in your lives. You understand that if you are the CEO of an outfit and it does very, very well, you prosper. And if you are the CEO of an outfit that does not do at all well, then you're out of business. So there is accountability in your lives. So I learned something about accountability, and I learned it soon after I went in the military. And so to this day, I believe that accountability is very, very important. And the reason that to get back to Mike's early question, I'm kind of a Coach K, Krzyzewski kind of guy, is he learned a long time ago that you don't need to hit people And you don't need to yell at people to simply say, okay, you sit down now. You stand up and play. And at the end of the day, that's what makes the difference between high-quality athletic teams and those that are wannabes, is the coach's ability, because of talent, to say, that's great, you sit down, now you stand up and play. That's a big, big deal. And so that's what happened to me within about a year of the time I joined in the military. And then something happened to me that had maybe not so much to do with the military, but it's a pretty interesting little story. It happened down in Austin, Texas. My folks were living in Austin, Texas, and I had gone to officer candidate school. I was a 90-day wonder, brand new second lieutenant, commissioned, an officer and a gentleman. You know. I stepped up on a Greyhound bus at the Austin bus station, headed for Oakland, California in 1967, before most of you were born, to catch my flight to Vietnam. And as I stepped up on that Greyhound bus, I stopped for a minute and I turned around and hugged my mother goodbye. She was there. Hugged my dad and I shook his hand, and it occurred to me that he was a member of the greatest generation, and to the day he died was very proud of his service in our Army during World War II. And I said, Dad, do you have any advice for a young lieutenant? And my dad looked at me and he said, you know, I do. He said, do you think you can remember the word feisty? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And he said, no, son, I'm serious. Feisty. It's F-E-I-S-T-Y. F, son, is for focus, and you need to get some in your life. E is for energy. You need to put some of that behind whatever focus you decide on. I is for integrity. Don't ever lose it. If you lose it, integrity, you never get it back. S is for solve the problem that they give you to solve. Everywhere you go, your whole life is going to be surrounded by problems. You be a problem solver, not a problem reporter. T is for take the blame when nobody else will. T. And Y is for yes, I'll do windows. So 1967, young lieutenant, pretty much 10 feet tall and bulletproof, hopped up on a Greyhound bus, and that's what my 8th grade dropout mechanic father told me. And I have never forgotten it through the course of my life. And so it's not exactly correct to ask me what did the military do to cause me to have some vision. It's actually more likely that my dad finally got to me when I was about 20 years old and convinced me that whatever it was I'd been doing before wasn't necessarily right. And so I spent a lot of time trying to focus and then be pretty energetic about it and look around and learn who can play and who can't. Who can play and who can't. You can play, you go play. You're not doing well, you sit down. And that's what Coach K does.